Oh, okay, here I am. Can you see me now? Luckily, I have my team that puts that. I think I might have forgot to add me into the broadcast room. Can you see me now? I'll. All right, here we go. I think we're. Let me just message my team and see if we're on. Everybody's like anticipating, and all right. Let me see if they can see us now. All right. All right, I'm just going to start over because I don't think anybody could see me anyway. So I'm just going to, okay, awesome. Okay, let me just start over. I just gave myself a precursor to what I was going to say. Could you hear me before, Caitlin, or just you couldn't see me at all? Okay, we're just going to start over. So today we're going to talk about 5 ways to choose joy. And so, awesome. Okay, we're going. You think by the how many times I've been doing this twice a week, I'd get good at it. But okay. So today we're talking again about 5 ways to choose joy today. And I know amidst our trials and these hardships and all these things that are going on, it is possible to find joy amidst trials. And I know so often we get caught in that trap of after this is done or after we're out of quarantine, then we'll be happy. And we really can try to find joy amidst what we're doing. And so to start off, I want to start talking about first, like what joy is not. I think so many of us get caught up in the trap of what we think joy is, but we don't really take time. We don't take time to sit back and reflect on what truly joy is, and we get caught up in the hustle and the bustle and the craziness of life, and then we don't ever take time to think like, maybe why am I not happy? And I think this quarantine has done something to all of us, where we've been forced to have some quiet time. We've been forced to be able to sit back and think and ponder and be able to say, okay, what is joy? And what makes me happy? And the way we were defining it is wrong. And so, like, an example is success, right? We think, oh, the more I can make, or if I can just have money or have financial freedom, then I'll be happy. Or if I just complete this project at work and knock it out of the park, then I'll be happy. And I was just talking to a guy that started working for us, and he was talking about his prior employer, and it was like, you get with a project and you're all excited, and it's great, but if you don't have a deep intrinsic like why and vision behind that, like it's just like, okay, what's the next project? It's never enough. And so it becomes that crazy cycle of always wanting more. And so, and the same thing is like with physical pleasure. Okay, if you take food, yeah, that food is great to start, but if we keep eating that food, it becomes less desirable. Okay, that first drink might be great, but if you keep drinking, you become miserable. And an addiction becomes such a big part of this because you want more and more, and you can never have enough. And so we think that through success or these physical pleasures that it's going to ultimately get us joy, and it's not. And the other one is fun. I think of some people that I know that, it's always like, okay, how can I stay busier and busier and do more fun things? And while fun is great and we want to do those things, like that is not at the end of the day what's going to bring us that happiness. It's a great thing to add on to our joy and our happiness, but that isn't what's going to. Hi, Amy. Hi, Ashley. It's great seeing everybody on. All right, so what is joy? Joy is really becoming the best version of ourselves. So this is something that's really deep and passionate with me because one of the things that I always say is like my intrinsic why for myself based on my history and my trials and the person that I am intrinsically is being true to my purpose and then inspiring others to be true to their purpose. And that's something that is really deep within me, and that's what fuels me and gets me excited and gets me finding joy is when I know I'm being true to what I'm called to do, and then inspiring others to do the same thing. And we all have our own reason of what it means to become the best version of ourselves. And I believe there's some characteristics that are all the same that we need to go after, but how we define those are going to be different. So I'll get into those here in a minute. But really, joy is about becoming that best version of ourselves. And if we settle, like if we're like, you know what, I'm okay with the second-rate version of me, like that's all right. Really, it becomes miserable. Like we become miserable from that. And so I'm excited to get into the 5 ways you can choose joy today. So stay tuned. I'm just going to kind of set the stage, and then we'll get into those 5 things. All right, let me see what I have. My notes. So the journey of the soul is difficult. That was kind of a phrase that I wrote, and it's true. Like, if you think about all the trials that we all have really a lot of hardships, and life is very difficult. And I don't want to downplay that by talking about joy. It is like a lot of us are going through a lot of things. We have disappointments, we have failures, we have losses, fears, addictions, fatigue. Maybe we're angry about what's going on, and there's so many emotions that are happening. And so yes, it is difficult. And I think I've said this in another live, but the sooner we realize that life is difficult, it no longer becomes difficult. And then we can really truly start to reflect on, okay, these trials are for a reason. They're to help mold me and help me become, again, that best version of ourselves. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So let's dig into the 5 things about how you can choose joy today. So the first one is take time to get to know you. Really ponder and reflect and be like, what things am I passionate about? What are my values? What are the things, like, do I want to be an honest person? Do I want to keep my word? Like, what are the things that define you? Like, I had talked with somebody in the last week's live, Shelley Williams, and I had an aha moment in that. And I had talked a lot. I talk a lot about experts, about how I get frustrated when they always say, just focus on your genius. But when they're talking about genius, they're more talking about, hey, if you're really good at creating video or really good at being a copywriter, like they talk more about those surface level things, but they're not really talking about like who you intrinsically are, like what your genius is inside of you that makes up the person that you are, that makes us all unique. Like that is the person that you need to get to know. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get to know that person in just, a couple hours of self-reflection, but the sooner you start to reflect and ponder, and then as you go throughout your journey in your life, you're going to start to be able to reflect and figure out who you are. So and one way to get to know your needs is that I've talked about this again before, but understanding your 4 legitimate needs. So what are your physical needs that you have? What are your emotional needs? We all have this desire to connect with each other socially. And so like, what are your needs there? And making sure that you're being true to those needs. What are your intellectual needs, as far as like learning and growing and the way you want to read and become a self-learner? What are the books that you're drawn to and the things that you want to learn? And how do you broaden your scope of not only broadening your scope on the things you read and learn, but then also going deeper on things. Like there was a question, we're doing an avatar questionnaire, and one of the questions was, how many books does your avatar read a month? And I love that question, because if you asked me that a year ago, it probably would be different than what I am now. Because a year ago, I was like, oh, I'm going to read a book a week or 2 books a week. But now I'm like, no, I'd rather read 1 book a week and go deeper on that book, or reread that book 2 times, so that I can intrinsically have that deep understanding and knowledge. So we need to be able to learn a lot of things, but also be willing to go deep and retain that knowledge as well. So what are our intellectual needs? And then the 4th one is what are our spiritual needs? And so spiritual isn't just like a religious term. It's really the ability to connect your mind and your heart together. And I believe that is really the key and the secret sauce to understanding how to become the best version of yourself, and how to become how your business can become its best version of yourself. Because one of the things, like right now, I'm talking about like your best self, but understand these same principles can get applied to your family, your team at work, your business, or you as a visionary. And like all of these concepts are the same, regardless of where it's applied. And so take time. So step 1 is take time to get to know you. Write down like those 4 quadrants and really start to list what things are important in there. And then what are some of the desires that you have in your heart? And then what are the talents that that you have? And these are talents that you might just have a thought and you're like, I don't know if I'm even really good at that. So for instance, my stepdad, like he started painting when he was maybe it was in his 50s. He didn't even know he was a really good painter. And then he starts painting, and I see these paintings and they're amazing. And so like there's sometimes if you just have this like, oh, I wonder if I really think I should start trying to paint. Maybe you're in your 50s and you figure out you're a really good painter. So just it doesn't have to be something that in the past you've been really good at, but just something that's in you that's burning, that like, I really need to try that. So step 1, take the time to get to know you. All right. Step 2 is state your why, your purpose, your values. So based on that reflection, make a statement. Like for me, I said my why based on my past and who I am is to be true to my purpose and inspire others to be true to their purpose while becoming the best version of themselves. And to me, like, I think about like this business and that I've created and the devotion that I've put to it. The reason why I do that is because I feel called to do it. I feel like that is really being true to myself. And because of that, I find a lot of joy in it. I know I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And that is what creates joy for me. And it doesn't mean that things are hard. I've done a lot, like there's been a lot of trials I've had over the last couple months, but was able to find a lot of joy amidst those. So the third one is inventory your life. So take a step back and just start writing. What are the things I work on day to day? Like even today, start writing down what things that you've done, and then reflect back on your week and what are some actual talents that maybe you're doing that maybe you haven't done for a while, and just start inventorying your life, and then start to circle those ones that was like, you know what, I feel called to do these things, and which things pop out at you are things that are important. And which ones do I need to eliminate? Which things do I need to, maybe they need to be done, but hey, I can outsource that, or I can have somebody else do that. So really get a feel for your life and inventory that. So the fourth one is take action. It's great if we all think about, oh, I should be doing this, but if we don't ever take action, then it's all for naught, right? There's a phrase that I say often is be humbly bold. And that was kind of a motto for myself one year. I had set a New Year's resolution to be more bold. And it really made a difference for me because I was able to be more humbly bold with the people I hung out with, the people associated with, the things that I did, when I say no, when I say yes. I was able to put all of that to the test of what my why was. So if you remember, like if you've stated your why and you know what your vision and your values are, then when you go forward, you can put everything to the test. Okay, this is a thing, these don't align with that, so I shouldn't do them, or they go against the person that I really need to be. And so again, every moment, always analyze this and choose to be the best version of yourself in every moment. Like don't compromise. And then the fifth one is one that I think is really something I don't know, I think that the world has taught us to be the other way. And it's that the enemy of excellence is minimalism. What is the least that I can do? Or, I'm guilty of this, but like what I know I can go at least 5 miles over the speed limit. And so that's what we'll go. Like, so we've learned what can we get away with? Or what's the least I can do? Like we've trained our mind to do that. And so then we wonder why we're not becoming the best version of ourselves. It's because it's all about our mindset. That's where it starts. If you want to be more successful in your business, or you want to be a better employee at work, or you want to be a better father or a better mother, or, whatever it is that that you're not doing to the best of your abilities, it most likely it's a mindset shift. And we need to realize that it really is excellence that we need to be pushing towards. When the 4-Hour Workweek book came out in, I think it was around 2007. I remember reading it and I really hated the book. I don't even honestly know if I ever finished it all, because I was like, the goal of, I was grateful for the movement because it created an outsourcing movement, a virtual assistant movement, and it really got people thinking, like, how do I be more smart with my time and all that. But what I didn't like about the book is, like, we're not meant to just not do anything or work hard. We're not meant to be on the beach for 4 hours or work for 4 hours and just spend the rest of the time on the beach sipping latte, or not, I was gonna say lattes, but that's not what you do. Margaritas, or that is, that's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to be the best version of ourselves. It means that we're working hard, we're doing things, but we're not just doing it to be busy. So many people get caught up in the busy trap. Like, I'm busy, but they're not ever being true to what they need to be doing. And so if you're a visionary of a company, like, do vision stuff. I just came out of a meeting where we were doing this new guide and this branding stuff related to this thing we're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks. And I was so excited. I was like, I didn't even want to leave to come to this live as much as I want to talk to you guys, because I was in my zone. I was doing things that I enjoy. And so, like, when you're doing that, like, magic happens. And so we want to get back to having that ability to have excellence. The other thing too is, so we've learned to get away with as little as we can, but we also have been wired to be multitaskers. We can do, so we go not very deep and we go very broad. But what we need to do is we still need to be able to go broad and have a depth of knowledge, because that's what that knowledge is what's going to give us more wisdom. but we also need to be able to go deeper in the things that we're doing. And so, so this is kind of 5 ways that you can really get joy in your life. So 1, again, take time to get to know you. 2, state your why and your purpose and your values. And really, just like a business needs to do that, you need to understand who you are and what you stand for. And then inventory your life. See which things are aligning with that, what things you need to eliminate, what things you need to add. 4, take action and be humbly bold. Be willing to do those hard things. The more you do that, it becomes less hard because you have your why and your purpose to put everything to the test with. And so then you can make decisions with courage, and then you just let the consequences follow. You don't have as much fear in your life, and things start to become easier. And it really is a much simpler way to live life. And so, and then the 5th one is that the enemy of excellence is minimalism, and realizing that we are meant to continue to work hard and do things that are aligned with the best version of ourselves, not just being busy. So there really are no shortcuts to your character. You really have to, if you follow these steps, it'll get you to reflect and think back during this time. I hope this time has given people more really time to reflect. I mean, that's really what it is. And hopefully things have slowed down a little bit. You know, you don't take your kids to school, you don't have to go to sporting events, there's all these crazy things, and the world is going to start opening up again. So if you haven't had a chance to do these 5 things, I suggest doing them. And that way, before the hustle and bustle and the craziness starts back up, you now have something, a metric to go against and to log. You know, decisions that now will become simpler because you'll have something to gauge it against. So I hope this was helpful. If you really enjoyed this, list comments of what you liked about it in the comments. And then I do these lives every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you can subscribe to my page, and you'll be able to get notified when I do the lives again. So thank you again. Again, inventory your life and start eliminating those things on your to-do list. And so on Thursday, I think we're going to be talking about HR with business and how you can maybe outsource some of those HR things. So as you're scaling back up and you're growing a team again, if you're contemplating whether you don't want to start a team or if you want to outsource some of those functions, we'll be talking about that on Thursday. So with that said, that's all I have for you guys. So thanks for joining, and I'll see you here soon. Bye.